see if this works. That works, eh? So thanks for the question. I mean, the starting point in all of this is, in my view, we've got to create a party without walls, right? A party in which people are constantly coming in and coming out, where liberals are reaching out into the community, where those that aren't members of the party are being invited into the party for events and stuff, and Ron made some good points in that respect. And quite frankly, a lot of the riding associations around the country have been leading the party in that way, right? There's a lot of riding associations that have been doing that, integrating themselves much more with their community, identifying, there we go, identifying. That's one way to make sure we're brief, eh?
They're running the batteries too.
Identifying in those community organizations who the liberal supporters are, who the people that are interested, and then bringing them in. So that's number one, is constant interaction back and forth with the community organizations. That should happen at the riding association level, but also should happen with commissions. There's a candidate for the YLC here, a couple of candidates for the YLC as well, and as well as a party at a national level. We should be constantly reaching out and pulling people back in. We should not be having many meetings where it's just us meeting with ourselves, right? We all know each other, we all support each other, right? So that's number one. And to Alexandra's point, we should be identifying them through liberalism. We should be using the micro-targeting processes and technology that was pioneered out in BC to be able to do that. Now, with respect to electing a leader, right? My view is you got to be a member of the party to elect the leader. I would make it as easy as possible to become a member. I would take the membership fee down to zero. I'd allow you to join up online, download a form, make it as simple as possible. But I have not yet given up on building a party of 500,000, a million members. And that's part of the whole thing around this primary thing and the supportive thing is there's almost like a white towel being thrown in saying, well, we haven't created an experience, right, for members that will make some of those people you talked about want to actually join the party, right? I think political parties are a bunch of talk and not much action and they don't want to show up. Well, if I'm elected president of LPC, my mission will be to completely change the experience so it is something that they'll want to join, that will give them a voice for their passions.
Fantastic. First question. Do we have any other questions on this side?
I got it.
Hi everyone. I'm Josh Hutchinson. Well, this is loud. I'm running for Vice President of Finance at the Young Liberals of Canada. The YLC does a lot to provide resources to campuses and provincial associations to help facilitate the recruitment of more young liberals, financially, in terms of materials, stuff like that. And there's a lot more that we can be doing, and I think that's particularly crucial at this point in the party's history because I think a lot of these fundamental changes that we need to make really start with young liberals. We need to change the organization to change the party. Part of what we can do to bring more resources in, to better fund campus clubs and the YLC, I think, is add an option to the Victory Fund where you can contribute to the YLC itself or to a YLC provincial association. So my question for you is, what would you think of adding a Young Liberal option to the Victory Fund so that we can use the same structure as the rest of the party to fundraise?
Sheila, do you want to start off with this one?
I proposed just such an option, and I think it should also be available to all the commissions. And I also think we should start taking ownership of the fact that the Liberal Party of Canada has been the party for equality for the country, and that we should actually be creating an LGBTQ caucus that has the same options. And I think we also have to recognize the fact that at the moment, we are not a party of diversity, as reflected in this room, and we have to find ways also of empowering diversity, and I think creating a Victory Fund option which focuses on targeting aspects of the party and not just the party in general revenues is a good way to do that.
Thanks for the question, Josh, and thanks for coming all the way out here. You had an event yesterday, I think, eh?
I did.
Lots of people came out?
Lots of people came out. Great event. I love Toronto, and of course I love Toronto.
Okay. He's a good politician, eh? Learn a thing. Here's the deal with youth, right? So in general, Canadians are becoming less and less engaged in politics, certainly organized politics, right? So you've seen voter participation in elections fall from around 80% back in the 1980s, and we're down to in the last election 60%. Before that, I think it was only 58%. But the most shocking statistic is with youth. Right? There's some surveys that were done that estimated that only 25% of those between 18 and 34 actually came out to vote in the last few elections. So the opportunity for the Liberal Party, in my view, is not just to focus on the 60% that are voting now and having a wrestling match with Stephen Harper and the NDP over those people. We've got to focus on that. But the opportunity for us, and it's no coincidence in my view, that the decline in our party's fortunes parallels the decline in participation in elections. The opportunity for us is to reach out to those that have not been participating, and the biggest chunk of them are youth. So specifically to your question, absolutely, there should be that option so you have more resources so you can do more outreach. And the Young Liberal organization in general should be given the resources so it can be reaching out to youth organizations, identifying those that are supporters, those that want to be members, and like I said, having that constant interaction moving back and forth. And one part of that is giving you the resources to do the job.
Okay, this one isn't working now.
There.
Thank you. I don't think any of us disagrees with the idea of allocating a portion of the victory fund to the Young Liberals. As I wouldn't disagree with allocating a portion of it to the Julie LaMarche Fund for the women candidates, which is something that has been asked for a while. It is one way of inciting cause-related funding, and I think that's one of the good ways of going to get supporters is to identify where they can support, or choose to support, and put their money to it. So absolutely, I would agree with changing the way we do our fundraising to represent the diversity of the party, and particularly Young Liberals. Thank you.
I think it's unanimous. That's a great idea. It also provides an incentive because to be active, because you're going to get more people checking that off if you're doing interesting things. The other thing about having the resources to do interesting things is you can give meaningful opportunities for people to engage. Again, my experience as writing presidents is once we started to do meaningful things in the community and be really active, we grew because if someone shows up and says, and I've seen this many times, a young person shows up at a writing association that isn't doing anything, they say, we want to contribute. And you say, fine, and put their name on the list, but they never hear from them again. If you're really out there doing fun and interesting things, boy, you grow really rapidly because people do become engaged in it.
Thank you. Question over here, so I'll turn it over to you.
Hi, my name is Yuri Navarro. I'm actually a member from Trinity Spadina. Know a few of you actually been around for a little while, but I have a question actually that right now we talk a lot about tactics, and that's great. I love the support for the Young Liberals. It seems unanimous. My question is actually, it's, we can have all these tactics, and the tactics do work and they do help, but how do we actually, what's our message? How do we actually engage people at that? How do we engage them to actually want to get involved beyond the tactics?
So the question is, how do we get people to be engaged beyond tactics?
What is our brand, essentially?
What is our brand?
Does this work? No. How do we?
Of course, they all work before the event.
That's
so
all right.
They worked until we needed them.
Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all good? Okay, well, you're doing well, Yuri? Yeah. Haven't seen you in a while? Good. Here's the deal. Like, if you look at the last 3-4 elections, right? Everybody in this room went out and worked hard, right? And you probably, every successive election, you probably did some things different, you did some things better than you did in the last election. And I certainly know in my role as president of LPCO, back from 03 to 08, we did more training, we had more field workers out working there, we had better materials going on, we were constantly trying to figure out how to do things better between the elections, and the results, like for most of us in the room, got worse and worse, right? And this is my point. This is the point of what I've been trying to say throughout this campaign, is it's not about doing everything that we've done before just a little bit better. And that's what's going to make the difference. What we've got to do is, first of all, stop talking about ourselves in the terms that pundits use on those TV shows at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock, what they call Power and Politics and Power Play, all those shows. Talking about ourselves as centrist, moderates, all this stuff. Like, why did we ever stop talking about what it means to be a liberal, right? I mean, it's something pretty profound, pretty fantastic. It's what got me involved in the party in the first place when I was 15 years old. Saying that, For every individual, you have a right to live and be however you want to be, right? And not only will we accept that, but we're going to vigorously defend that. And in every person, we see tremendous potential. And the role of government is to unlock that potential, sometimes more potential that person never saw, breaking down barriers, creating opportunities, and sometimes government getting the hell out of the way if they're an impediment, right? And that's what it's about. You know, first of all, what we've got to do is start talking about that again. And second of all, we've got to bust open the party to new ideas. So we've got to change the policy process within the party so that you're not just having 5, 6, 7, 8 ideas coming forward every 2 years, and you get a couple of sexy ones like the monarchy that get a bit of attention, right? There should be thousands of ideas percolating up all the time. The policy process should be going all the time, online, debate, discussion, votes, online all the time. And secondly, we've got to be reaching out beyond the party to think tanks, academics, anybody with a big idea, saying now is the time to bring your idea forward. We're not going to accept them all, but if you want to advance your idea, there's no better vehicle, there's no party that's going to be more open to it than the Liberal Party. And that's how we revitalize a brand, and that's how we revitalize the party, in my view.